All right, so today we're taking a deep dive into the Reformation. Big topic, huge turning point for Christianity in Europe. We've got your notes on how it all began, and we're going to really try to get to the bottom of why the Roman Catholic Church's power kind of started to slip and how these new Protestant denominations, well, how they came to be.
Yeah, it's really a period where you see the religious landscape of Europe just completely transforming. The Roman Catholic Church, they're losing their grip, and that's what allows all these Protestant groups to pop up.
So, what were the big issues that really got this whole thing going? Your notes mentioned some pretty serious complaints against the Catholic Church.
I think a big one was this disconnect between the church and, well, everyone else. Like the Bible and all the church services were in Latin or Greek, so most people couldn't actually understand any of it. Imagine that. You're going to church, and it's all just a mystery. You're totally reliant on the priest to tell you what it means.
Yeah, that creates some serious power dynamics for sure. But it wasn't just about the language barrier, right? I mean, corruption in the church seems like it played a huge role.
Oh, absolutely. There was this feeling that the church had become, well, corrupt, too focused on worldly things like money and power. People felt like the church was more interested in those things than in actually being spiritual. And that led to some practices, well, they just didn't sit right with a lot of people.
Like what? Your notes mention a couple of specific things.
One was simony, which basically means selling sacred stuff. Like they'd sell relics, holy objects, or even positions in the church for money. I mean, imagine that. It's like they were treating holy things like commodities. And then there was a whole thing with indulgences. They were selling these pieces of paper that were supposed to reduce your punishment for sin, but you had to pay for them.
Yeah, you can see how that would rub people the wrong way. Now, the notes also talk about these Christian humanists. What was their deal?
So these were thinkers, intellectuals, who were really into studying the old texts, the classics. And they started to look at the church with, a critical eye. They would use satire, making fun of the corruption and trying to get the church to go back to its roots, to be more authentic. At first, they weren't trying to break away. They just wanted to see some changes from within.
But I'm guessing the church wasn't too thrilled about being criticized.
No, not really. Back then, if you taught something that went against the church's teachings, that was heresy. And guess what? It was a crime, a serious one. You could be executed for it. The notes even mention William Tyndale. He translated the Bible into English so people could actually read it for themselves, and they killed him for it.
Wow, that's intense. It really shows how much courage it took to speak out against the church back then. And that brings us to Martin Luther, who really seems like he was the one who kicked off the whole Reformation. What did he do to get things started?
So Luther was this Roman Catholic monk, a scholar, and he wrote these 95 theses, basically a list of complaints against the church. He really went after things like simony and indulgences. But this wasn't just some private letter. He wanted everyone to see it.
Like literally everyone. Did he nail it to the church door or something?
Yep, pretty much. In 1517, he posted his 95 theses on the door of Wittenberg Cathedral. And, well, that got people talking. It was a direct challenge to the church's authority.
I bet the church wasn't too happy about that.
You think? They put Luther on trial for heresy. But he wouldn't back down. He refused to take back what he said. He ended up escaping, and that's when he really broke away from the Catholic Church. That's considered the official start of the Reformation.
And his message spread fast, right? Your notes mentioned some important technology that helped with that.
Oh, yeah. The printing press. Gutenberg's invention. It meant that they could make copies of Luther's writings really quickly and spread them all over Europe. People could read what he had to say for themselves. It was a game changer.
So the right message at the right time, and thanks to new technology, it took off. And I guess Luther had some powerful friends looking out for him, too.
Right. A lot of the rulers in the Holy Roman Empire actually supported Luther. They protected him from the church, which meant that the Reformation could gain a foothold in their territories.
So just to recap, what sparked the Reformation? This desire to understand the Bible, to read it yourself. People were angry about corruption in the church, and then there were figures like Martin Luther who took a stand. Plus, you had new technology that helped spread the message and political support that helped protect the reformers. It all added up.
It really did. And it's amazing to think about how all those things came together to challenge this institution that seemed, well, untouchable. Makes you wonder, what about today? What are the things that are spreading information now? What authorities are being questioned? And how are political forces shaping those things? It's definitely something to think about.
Great stuff. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Catch you all next time.
You got it.